stones gliding across the ice, furious sweeping, and so much yelling. What's not to love about curling? With just days to go before the Olympic curling competition enters its medal rounds, we're getting you up to speed on winter's most social sport today on Across the Fence. Hello, Vermont. When it comes to fan favorite Olympic sports, curling is in the if you know, you know category. It doesn't have the quads or the backflips. It doesn't have Vermonters and catamount athletes racking up the medals. Good time to say, go UVM, go Vermont, it's been amazing. What it does have is the mesmerizing appeal of watching a team strategize their way to victory, launching stones with an almost ballet-like grace that looks easy but is actually incredibly hard. My guest describes it as chess on ice. And he would know. Joining me is Bill Germer, a member of the Green Mountain Curling Club here in northern Vermont. He's been curling for about 15 years, and because he is incredibly nice and a passionate fan of the sport, he brought a stone and a whole bunch of other equipment with him to the studio today. And since this stone weighs, how much did you say it weighs? 40?
This one's 38 pounds.
This one's 38 pounds. That is literally a big deal. Yeah. So Bill Germer, thank you for joining me. It's nice to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's talk about the stone. And I do want to, just because, okay, so you saw Snoop Dogg, right? So Snoop, Snoop has been at the Winter Olympics. He had to try his hand at curling. If you are a curling nerd like me, you might have seen Prince William and Princess Kate. Yeah. They make it look, people, when you see a regular do it, you can see it is not easy. And I think I know that this glides on ice, but let's say, okay, yeah, that's really heavy. I can see why you want this to live at the ice and not be something that you're taking back and forth to your car. Well, talk to me about the stones. Is it true that they all come from the same island in Scotland?
Not all stones. So there's two quarries in the world. One is in Scotland on the little island, Craig, and then the other is in Wales. So,
in Wales, okay.
So they're probably geologically in the same area.
Okay, geologically in the same area. And do they come from these particular, because the sport's Scottish? So the sport's Scottish?
Sport, yes.
Okay, all right. Well, and you have a theory though about, is it really Scottish, or how did it get to Scotland?
The rules seem a lot like the same rules as bocce and the ball sports that the Romans would have brought around. So I have a theory that the Romans have something to do with the ball.
Although the Scots added their own flair.
Exactly, took it outside, put it on a frozen lake.
Okay, I mean, you gotta love the Scots, right?
Exactly.
Thank you for giving us, the Highland Games and bagpipes and curling.
Exactly.
Lots of very good stuff. Okay, so, and other equipment you also brought because, okay, so this is the sweep.
It's a broom.
Okay, a broom. Okay, so you do call it a broom. All right, used for sweeping. Okay, and then, yes, I've always been curious about the shoes.
And the curling shoes have Teflon on the bottom, so it's super slippery.
So this is how, when you're doing the launch, when you're actually like letting go of the stone, this is how you watch that person in a deep lunge. Those lunges are intense.
They are intense.
And how they're gliding across the ice to let go of the stone. It's all thanks to that little Teflon on the bottom of the shoe.
Exactly.
But then you put the guard over top of it when you are, say, sweeping.
Yep, the gripper to keep you safe.
Or the skip in the house. If you can tell, by the way, Bill has given me an overview of curling, which is why I even know these terms. That's how then you can walk safely on the ice.
Correct.
Okay.
And chase after a stone when you have to go sweeping.
And chase after stone, we have to go sweeping. And then for curling clubs, so you guys always wear a helmet, you say, because
we recommend wearing a helmet. Yeah.
And
then you are required to have some sort of balance device.
A balance device.
This is a stabilizer.
Okay. Pretty cool. And we're going to talk about the club more in a minute, and we'll talk about the accessibility of the sport, because it actually has a lot of modifications in order to ensure that anyone from like age 4 to 104 could be a curler. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so now I have a image here from the 2006 Games. Fun fact, Canada won its first men's curling gold in the 2006 Olympics. Actually, this is USA team, so never mind. I still am happy for the men's Canadian team that they won in 2006, but nonetheless, USA. Use this and give us an overview of the game. What are we seeing here?
So they're trying to sweep a stone into the house. The circles are the house. That's where you score points.
Okay.
And so the skip is in the house right now calling the shot, and the sweepers are trying to drag that stone as far as they can get it into play.
Okay.
And hopefully score better than the other team.
And so when you're sweeping, I had thought that you were trying to slow the stone down, but that's not the point
No.
of it at all. What
No.
is it that the sweepers do, and how does it work?
The main thing is to clear the path. The goal is to polish the ice in front of the stone to reduce the friction, to make it go a little bit further and curl a little bit less.
Because no matter what, that stone is spinning, and so that's why it's called curling.
Exactly. It will curl with the rotation, and you can curl it depending on which way you rotate. It could go to the left or to the right.
Okay.
And you can go around stones and hide behind them.
And those are some of the moves, because now the
Correct.
strategy, you called this
Exactly.
chess on ice.
Yes.
The skip's job is to help create the strategy during play?
The skip is calling the strategy. He's looking at the house from the house. He's looking at right there, and he's looking at the paths that he can come in, and he's calling shots to his teammates to make, bring it in at this arc into here, sit it right here, or take this stone out, or guard this stone here.
Yeah, and there's a bunch so you can do different things. Like you can deliberately launch a stone and try to put it in a path. That's going to make it harder for the opposing
Exactly.
team.
Put up a guard.
Okay, put up a guard, right? Or then you can also try to, what's it called where you try to knock a stone out of play?
A takeout, it would
takeout?
be if it's taking it out of play, you can nudge it. You can give it a little bump
Okay,
also.
okay.
Sometimes it's just like, I don't want it here, I want it over there.
Okay, so a little, yeah, I mean, and the whole goal ultimately is just trying to rack up points, and points are determined by closest to the center?
So it's closest to the center, and so it's just like bocce. You count from the center how many stones there are of one team until you run into the first stone from the other team, and you stop counting.
Okay.
Only one team makes points.
What is the highest score you have ever gotten in a game?
In a game,
Yeah.
more than 16. I know that.
Okay, pretty good. Wait, okay, but is a game
but that's
an
not
individual?
necessarily good. That
It's
means
like
that
me
I
with
was
my
very
bowling
mean to
score
the
or
other
something.
team.
Yeah, okay. And everybody plays all of the positions.
No.
No,
Everybody sweeps. Everybody
sweeps.
throws.
Okay, but the skip is always the skip?
In general, yes. The
Okay.
skip is your skip is always the skip.
Because that's the captain of the team.
That is the captain of the team.
Okay. Look at my preview. I'm putting it to work. And then there's a vice skip.
There's a vice skip, so because everybody needs to throw, at some point the skip needs to throw. So when the skip goes to throw, the vice takes his place in the house.
Okay.
And they will call the shot for the skip, hold the broom is the target, and so the skip can throw and the vice will take control of the house.
Okay, and you play in ends.
You play in ends,
Okay.
moving all your stones from one end of the sheet of ice to the other end of the sheet of ice. And then you throw another end to go back.
Okay. And so 10 ends in an Olympic round, but then less depending upon if you're
General
playing
club play is
juniors.
eight ends. Juniors tend to be around 6 ends.
Okay. And in curling generally, so there's men's and women's and mixed doubles team. We have an image here of the American mixed doubles team just a few days ago at the Winter Games. They defeated Italy in a big upset to advance to the gold medal round. Sadly, they lost to the Swedes. You say that the Swedes always win.
Swedes are quite good.
And talk about, so we were saying about how the curling has, it's a very accessible sport. There's no difference between women's play and men's play in terms of length of game or the
Nope,
heaviness?
it's all the same rules, all the same equipment, everything is the same. Women do tend to play a more finesse game than the men. The men tend to like to hit things.
Men are just knocking stones around and women are like big braining it.
And mixed doubles is a good game for TV because it's always moving. There's action. But you also have somebody who's going to throw a takeout and somebody's going to throw a nice finesse shot. You get it all in. It's like all in one.
Okay. Well, and if you haven't been watching the Olympics, we are going into, for men's and for women's, kind of these final rounds. It's starting to get into medal play. So this would be the time to watch. But I want you to talk to us about the Green Mountain Curling Club.
Yep.
Yeah. So you crossed the border to play in Quebec.
Yes. So the Green Mountain Curling Club has been around for about 20 years. We played in Vermont on hockey ice until 2013, and then we needed to go find some ice, and we found it in Quebec. It's an hour from Burlington. It's just over the border. There are multiple curling clubs across the border in Quebec, or in Canada. I think there's probably 8 or so that are within half an hour of the border.
Okay.
Our curling club is about 15 minutes over the border, right on 89, right off of 89.
Nice, easy little drive across
Yep.
the border into Canada.
Just get
Pretty
on the
cool.
highway and
How
go.
many people are in the club?
Bedford Curling Club, or no, Green Mountain Curling Club. The Green Mountain Curling Club is about 75, 80 members.
Okay. Great, pretty cool.
probably-
Oh, and you mentioned about the ice. I thought this was a little fascinating.
Yep.
So you said dedicated ice because hockey ice tends to have a little curvature to it,
Yep.
and that the curling ice you want it to be absolutely,
You want it
completely
absolutely
smooth,
flat.
so that it doesn't affect that rotation or the
Well,
curl.
because a 40-pound stone will fall downhill, right? Even if
Yeah.
it's a little hill,
Yeah.
it will fall downhill.
Yeah.
So when you play on hockey ice, the stone will tend to do odd things, whereas if you play on perfectly flat ice, you control the stone.
Pretty cool. Something else you get to control. I said that this is one of the winter's most social sports. Talk a little bit about the culture and how important socializing is after the game.
So it's a very honorable sport. We start and end every game with a handshake. There is social time that is pretty much required afterwards.
And you said even at the Olympics.
Even at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Even at the Olympics. So even at the Olympics, they will meet afterwards as the teams, and they will talk and chat, have a beverage.
That.
One of the things that I always loved is that the winners by the first round and the losers by the second round.
Pretty good. So just like playing all the positions, everyone's going to get a chance.
Everybody's gonna get a
That's pretty
chance.
good. Okay. So if folks want to find out a little bit more about the Green Mountain Curling Club or to sign up for a curling clinic, because this is something you can do, you can sign up for a curling clinic and actually get a chance to try your hand at the sport too, if this has made you very intrigued. Here's information right here on the Green Mountain Curling Club. Bill, do you have any predictions on teams that might take home gold this year?
Well, I was going to say the strong ones tend to be Canada, Sweden, Scotland.
Okay.
The U.S. has a young team this year. We have a lot of hopes for them. Team Casper out of New York, and so we'll be rooting for them. See how they do.
Pretty cool. And then here's the last thing, real fast. You said that even at the Olympic level, they call it a Bonspiel. They call
Yeah,
the
a Bonspiel is so it's
Because
a
why?
tournament. It's a tournament. It's a fun tournament.
fun tournament.
Everybody's enjoying it. Everybody's having fun.
For the most part, it's
Yeah.
about having fun. All right. Well, thank you. This has been fun.
Thank you very much.
And as always, Vermont, thank you for learning and exploring with me today. And thanks to the team that makes Across the Fence possible. I'm Amy Finley. This is Across the Fence. Come back and let's learn and explore again tomorrow.